So imagine that you're watching a flowing river. Now, since I'm in India, you can imagine the Ganges. It's flowing from the Himalayas, from Gomukh, Gangotri, and it comes down to my favorite place, Rishikesh, then Haridwar, then it crosses the states, goes to West Bengal, and finally Bay of Bengal flows into the Indian Ocean. And the Ganges is such a life-giving force. It irrigates the crops, and there are townships all built around. It gives power. A river is such an important source of energy, life. And why am I talking about a river to you? Is because it's the best metaphor for a mind. If you really look at our body is 60% water. And if you look at the mind is greatly influenced. The quality of the mind is also like water. It's quite fluid. It's going from here, there. It's constantly in a state of flux and movement. So if we want to ensure that this river or the mind gives us life and is not destructive, it's very important that it flows within the banks. If you look at a river, if it flows within the banks and in the direction of the ocean, it's a life-giving force. But if the same river were to go beyond the banks, broke the structure within which it's meant to flow, it can cause so much of havoc and destruction. And we have experienced a variety of floods. And the same applies to the mind. If the mind is given a certain structure or a direction to flow, then it's a life-giving force. It can create such beauty, it can be of service, it can contribute. But if that same mind doesn't have any structure, then it can be a very destructive force. And most common quote that we have had is, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And we have all experienced a lot of psychological problems people have is primarily because the mind is not constructively engaged in something. When you don't have anything to do, then the mind will constantly throw up negative thoughts, insecurities, all kinds of complexes. It eats you up. So I'm going to give you two simple tips. They are very basic, simple tips which I apply in my life, which give direction to my mind, which keeps my mind on track towards a purposeful direction. And the two simple tips are that before I go to bed at night, I set up a schedule for what my next day is going to be like. So it's simple. I just divide my day in terms of, okay, I'll be doing this activity in the morning, then followed by this, then this in the evening. So I have like a sort of a daily timetable chalked out even before I come to the next day. So my mind already has a certain direction in which to flow. And the other thing is, on the weekend, which is on Sunday, I create some kind of a timetable or a schedule for what my week is going to look like. What are the important activities that I need to do during the week? How I would probably divide them in terms of day-wise. And let me tell you that this timetable is not set in stone. Of course, there are different priorities and you need to be flexible. But having a timetable, having certain tasks or goals which you give yourself or you commit to, gives an extraordinary sense of direction to the mind, and it keeps you on track. And what I'm sharing in terms of goal setting is a very important aspect of a healthy and a happy mind. And there's immense research done on this. One of the books which I read, and the name of the book is Flow, by this author called Mihali Csikszentmihalyi. I'll give you the link of that book in the description. And he's done research, about good 25 years research on variety of people in different fields who are not only successful but happy in what they are doing. And he says that there are three common factors for a mind to get into a state of flow, which is a state of absorption in whatever that person is doing. And the factors are, when you're setting, most of these people who are supposedly happy in whatever they're doing, whether they are businessmen, politicians, monks, sports people, these three things are common. The first is they're doing something which is meaningful to them, which is important to them in terms of whatever goal that they have set. The second is that they have set a challenging goal for themselves. So what he says is that the goal should not be very easy, neither should it be very difficult. So if I were to give you an example, the best way I can explain that is through a rubber band. Now if you look at a rubber band, this is very limp. And if you look at it now, it's very tight. So the best option of creating a goal is an optimal goal, which is a stretch, which is little stretching, but it's not difficult to meet, which keeps your mind focused, sharp. And the third thing is your ability to monitor your goals. So when these three things are present, then your mind gets into a state of flow, a state of absorption. So I'll end with a quote by Albert Einstein. He says, if you want to be happy, tie your life to goals and not to people and things. Namaste. Thank you.